Yo, what's going on? It's Terrell, Hall of Fame, D-Line, TBKC, and all that other good shit. Trying to get back into rotation. This one was a question. And before I start, thanks for everybody who was hitting me up, checking on me, and all that good stuff. Feeling a lot better now. This question is basically about my stud, Mandela, and what makes him different. Lately, not usually. He's been putting down a lot of litters, and people have been saying that he's really producing at a high level. A lot of champion dogs, a lot of big bone, clean dogs like himself, but actually better because they're actually tighter. And the question is, what brings about his success as a stud? And it's similar to a lot of other studs. And I consider a good stud one that consistently does it over and over and over again. You can breed a stud a million times and you'll get, nice puppies somewhere eventually. But the stud that you can constantly keep on putting in there and you know what you're going to get, that's a true stud, and that's sort of where we've got to the point with him. Now, you think of it, it's like other, it's like when they make other breeds, but that takes more time. You're setting up your genetics to produce certain qualities every time. So if your genetics are producing those certain qualities every time over and over and over again, you're going to come up with something that's, damn near perfect for what you're looking for. Now, in his case, and I'll go back to that. But in his case, his mother is a Denzel daughter. Her and her sisters are very good producers. And a matter of fact, one sister is Magoo's mother. If you look at like Denzel's pedigree, Denzel is Denzel, Nationals winner, 3 times champion, possibly the best producer, depending on what you put the merits of producer on. And, he is what he is. His mother is probably the baddest bitch to ever walk the face of the earth as an American bully, and the first ever American bully champion and champion herself, Halle B. Then her father, which would be Mandela's great grandfather, Thug. He was another grand champion that was very dominant in the ring. And on the flip side, when you look at the other part of the blood, is Paco. So of course we know that Paco, legendary show dog, legendary show blood in our community. Now, to the Bistro side, which is his father, Bistro is the most solid dog, as far as show wins in our breed's history. Nobody has won like Bistro. His father is a grand champion. His grandfather, is Lock and Load and Homie. They're grand champions. If you follow it back, you have legendary dogs like Heartbreaker and Nemesis in this pedigree. So as you see, it's very little wiggle room to find a weak dog. This is the way you want to build your pedigree if you want producers, because that genetic says nothing but dogs that have won. No matter where it's pulling from characteristics and traits of a winning dog. As we know, this breed should be in the ring. The mistakes that are often made when people do this is they do the gamble and they do the cleanup and they do, and you'll get a dog that looks great. Trust me, every now and then you'll get a dog that looks great. But if his pedigree isn't, up to par, that's what his genetics are going to produce. His genetics are going to produce some of those dogs that you don't like in the pedigree, some of those flaws that you don't like in the pedigree, a lot of the issues that you don't like in the pedigree, and he's going to have a hard time producing himself over and over again. It'll be very inconsistent. It'll be much like a lot of the dogs that we see nowadays, to where we do like 30 breedings to get one dog. And then people parade them around as if they're the greatest producer of all time, but in reality, they're a horrible producer, because you've got 1 out of every 100 puppies that turn out to be something worth talking about. If you're building your program, and I know I'm very redundant when I say this, but the difference between, like I say, a boy like Mandela, who I'm confident, that we can breed him to any solid female and we're going to get good dogs. And some of the other studs, it's just the background, just the genetic makeup. He's built to produce dogs that have the American bully qualities that we look for. Big bone, big chest, big heads, good conformation, and good temperament. Now, when you went along, you know, when they make some breeds, what they have had to do is a lot harder, because they've had to totally eliminate characteristics that weren't a part of the breed at all, whether it was color or a dog being too big or a dog being too small and different things like that. And it's the same premise. They consistently picked a dog that fit inside what they were doing, and not only picked a dog that fit inside what they were doing, but also picked a dog that represented excellence in what they were doing. Far too many times right now, a lot of us are in a rush to do everything. We want something right now. We need it right now. We got to have it. And we sacrifice quality, you know. I see a lot of pedigrees. People send me some of these pedigrees, and I see the dogs in there. And unfortunately, a lot of the times it's like, well, how can I fix this? How can I fix that? And there is a way to get on the road or the right path if you have dogs that, you know, may not be the greatest dogs or whatever. Every breeding that you do going forward, you have to be pushing towards getting away from all those characteristics and having the same premise that every dog in that pedigree, not just the dog you're breeding to, but go behind those dogs and find out if those dogs are what you want, you know, and what issues come with those dogs, you know. Eventually you'll get to a point to where you can make a dog that is very, very consistent in producing what you want to have. But it takes time, it takes patience, you know, and it takes being smart. You know, pick a dog. Don't pick for hype. Pick a dog that has the qualities. Pick a dog that has that blood. You can hype any dog because it's marketing, you know. You can pay Amazon, I mean not Amazon, you can pay Google, you can pay whoever, and they'll hype your dog up. Facebook, you know, you can have your ads, you can have your picture all over there, you can do your thing, and you don't have to worry about it. But what are you hyping? You know, you have to get to a point, we have to get to a point that we're hyping and pushing the dogs of quality and of stature that's we should be proud of, instead of pushing just any old dog. It's going to be a grind, to say the least. It's going to be a grind for us to, you know, make our breeds better if we don't start with this premise. You know, it's several dogs that I've recommended to y'all throughout the years, not because I own them, I own Mandela, but other dogs that are built to produce and built to produce generationally. Not just, oh yeah, I'm gonna get a couple good puppies that I can brag about out of this. You want something that's gonna produce in your yard for the next 10 years. And it all starts with going behind that pedigree and making sure that you're getting everything that you wanted out the pedigree. If you shortchange it, I'm telling you, it's going to come back on you. If you shortchange it and you got a dog with bad hips, those bad hips will come back on you eventually, you know. Generally, I hear, you know, like a rule of thumb, when it is a dog with, like, say, for instance, bad hips, you know, you want to get closer down to the 10% area or below to sort of nullify the chances that those traits are coming back, and you still should be going away with it at that point. So basically, like, in percentage wise, if a dog that you don't like is, say, the grandfather, then that's about as far as you would go to want to start to say, you know what, maybe I can push those characteristics out if everything else is there. But if you can avoid that dog, please avoid that dog. But you know, it's going to be a thing here on out in the bully world, because we have so many different genetics and we have so many people who've cheated the game, that we're going to have to get to a point to where DNA testing is going to have to be mandatory. DNA testing is going to have to be something that we use as a tool to help us as breeders, because honestly, looking at the pedigrees, like I'm telling y'all to, oftentimes you're facing a lie, unless you really are dealing with a breeder that knows his shit and has had his shit in his yard and breeding his stuff, you know. Outside of that, you know, most of these guys lie about it, and that's going to make it even harder. But the thing you have to do is you have to balance genotype and phenotype. You know, look at the pedigree, but also look at the dog that you're breeding to. If the dog you're breeding to has badass feet, you already screwing up, you know. If the dog you have, the dog you want to breed to has nice feet, but you know for a fact that one of his parents has bad feet and a grandparent has bad feet, well, you're putting those genetics into that dog, and it's going to be a lesser chance. You got a higher chance of putting out dogs that are going to be screwed up. This is just the way the thing works, and that's why I say Mandela is not super special in the sense that I had some big magical trick. It's just years and years of great dogs compiled into one pedigree, and this allows him to keep on putting it out, you know. is programmed in his balls now to put out championship level dogs, big, clean, big bone dogs, good looking dogs, you know. And whoever studs you pick, you know, make sure that you're picking a dog that has that same type of programming. We need to be putting our best foot forward as we move forward to improve our breed as a whole, and stop getting caught up in the hype. But hopefully this video helped y'all out some. We're gonna be going in on some other topics. Y'all probably see the video about Paco and the other dogs that got killed. We do that sometimes, but we're gonna go into a lot of different things, and these videos are probably gonna be a lot longer now. Not as many videos, you know, maybe 4 or 5 a week, unlike when it was 15, 20 a week. But the videos will have more content, better substance. But until next time, y'all, I'm running out of breath. Much love. Peace.